G'day viewers, well, I got one of those new Hobart dishwashers from a customer. An FX90, a lot of electronics in these things, so really good machines when they're looked after, and they work well when they're looked after. But Hobart make all the parts that wear out, like the wash arms and the drain baskets and the piping, so like the main wash pump, you've got the wash pump with a motor. It's made out of paper mache. There's a lot of, and I do that on purpose so they can capitalise on it with maintenance, repair costs on those machines. Back in the day when Hobart made their equipment in Australia, the pumps are all cast iron and brass, and the motors are all made in Australia. But now they've gone to yeah, the water, all the water line is all where the water runs. It's all made of paper mache and toilet paper now. So. And they got an expensive price on it. It's kind of like what BMW do in all those new cars. Like Hobart, yeah, they've been doing this for about 15-20 years now. Are capitalising on making crap, and the parts and the top plastic they use throughout the water path is a plastic that degrades and breaks down with the heat cycles. And other than that, they're a good machine. But at the end of the day, they're endless money pits. So yeah, they're really well worth looking after if you want to keep the expensive costs down to keep these machines running. Because yeah, Hobarts love to leak from perishing plastic components. Like on the boiler tank down in there, there's an air trap on the back of it, an air trap for the leveling, the water level switch. It tells about the PCB when the boiler's full. There's a plastic trap on the back of that. And that also cracks and breaks down with heating with age and starts to leak. So Hobart love to capitalise on making crappy components. But overall they're a pretty good machine. The interface to go through, the interface is pretty easy with the graphical user interface. Very easy to program, and all that. I know all the passwords too, so because I'm a certified Hobart tech that fixes these machines. They're not the easiest things to work on, these, especially these little underbench ones. If you haven't worked on these before, you got to get to this motor. It's not easy. You got to take some things out and take some things apart to get to it all. But they're much like German cars, German engineering, the newer German cars anyway. End of the day, it's German engineering, German manufacture. Anyway, just give it on test. I just replaced that pump because that was motor wasn't working properly. It was just even regardless of the capacitor, it just wasn't starting right. It was humming and sluggish. So I replaced that. This is all on tests before it goes back to the customer. I've got to make sure it's all good to go with no leaks before it goes back to its customer. Brought it back to the regular service. Cockroaches love living in these things because of the heat down there. And with some machines, with some models, with some machines, the PCBs down here, you've got to be very careful if that doesn't get damaged, because that can be expensive, especially with Hobarts. The circuit boards in these PCBs, that top display board with a touch button on the screen is over $1,000, and the main board that in the bottom, that screen board talks to, that board down there that controls all the relays and everything else, that's just over $2,000, so it's not cheap. You've got to look after these machines. Plus you got to program these machines. The programming is only done by Hobart. The other manufacturer, like the Micro machine, the Micro machine is also made in Germany, across the road in Germany. The town where the Micro is manufactured is made across the road in Germany from Hobart. These are much more user friendly. Parts are still expensive, but they're much more resilient. So they last longer with lots of heavy use. The PCBs and the circuit boards using this one is used across the entire Micro range of dishwashers, big and small. Whereas Hobart's, you've got 50,000 different circuit boards for different models of Hobart. The Micro machines, you can easily get the, if you're a service rep and you're a certified Micro tech, you can get access to all the app on the phone, which you can connect to that display PCB, that screen, you can connect to that via Bluetooth, so you can program it with your phone with a micro app in the field, which is really good. So one thing I really like about the micros, unlike the Hobarts, you really can't. They will give you a flash drive if you ever have to change this top screen, and it's got the wrong firmware on it, depending on what model range you're placing that screen on. You get a flash drive which plugs into the side somewhere, or inside here as a USB port to load the correct firmware parameters for this. I'll give you the serial number you're going to match to yeah, make it run right. Anyway, okay, it's back to the dishwasher. Had a good day's work bagging in a split system in for my mate, so still on another test. It's got a stupid bloody leak in this. I don't talk about this bloody Hobart. It's bloody leaking. It's the sump. I cleaned and reseated the sump. Yeah, no, it's not leaking now. No, there it is. That new sump there, it's dripping there. Dripping into the sump. A sump gasket. Even though it's a new gasket on it, I'm probably going to put silicone on it. The problem with these Hobart dishwashers, the way they're designed, they just love to leak. As soon as you change something and you put all the new parts in, and just starts leaking. Like it always happens with these Hobarts. Always. They just love to leak. Hasn't reset itself yet. This is just notorious to leak. There's a code password there. There's some different types of passwords you can put in these things, which you can get through Hobart. If you're a Hobart service technician, there's certain passwords you can use to log in to do servicing on these things, but there's also certain parameters you shouldn't change unless you know what you're doing. You can these are easily bricked, these machines, so you're going to be careful. So it's all fixed other than that leak, as soon as they go back to the customer, but yeah, except for that stupid leak. But it's a Hobart, it's to be expected, a hose shaft. That's one thing that annoys me about Hobart dishwashers. They love to leak. I've actually got a detergent in there to keep this thing clean and demanked. And nice and clean, and freshen it up and just get on top of that, fix that bloody leak, and yeah, so go back to the customer. See, it has to do a wash, or maybe 2 washes, and then it flies its temperature up again. It's got its temperatures, which would be 60 for the wash and 83 minimum for the rinse. 85 usually. That's the guidelines for food safety standards. So I've got this thing plumbed to hot water. I've got my gas hot water rigged up, and it actually works quite well. Gas hot water works quite well for little things like this. That'll hide your electric wash. It runs on propane. If you haven't got hot water for these sorts of dishwashers, you'll be there all day waiting for the damn thing to heat up the temperature to initially start when you start your day's work. So you use this. They need hot water because you're going to be putting more stress on the boiler elements, and they're $500 a set. It's a 3-phase element, which is used in many different Hobart dishwashers. This just has one for a single phase configuration. They just connect one set of one bank in the element to for single phase use. So with some machines you can just disconnect it and swap the connections over to the 2nd or 3rd phase depending on which part of the element's burnt out. Still on the rinse. Yeah, except for that bloody leak. It's all fixed apart from that thing and leak. Oh, that's hot. That's supposed to be. Yeah, that's nice and hot now. Oh, toasty. Haven't I got any racks I put in this thing? Oh, well, it's yeah, it works quite well. There we go. Now it knows its temperatures. The steam cleaned itself. Oops, I turned it off. There you are. It's about 5 years old, this dishwasher. They say these Hobart recommend these have a 10-year lifespan, heavy commercial use. But I've seen some last for 20 years, but they are not. They're making them deliberately not last that long by using crappy plastic components that break down and are expensive to replace. Versus other machines like wash techs. Wash techs, for example, are smart because they and the novices and the sharp lines. But these particular dishwashers are a lot cheaper. Well, easier and simpler, cheaper to repair. No plastic crap to go wrong here. But the Hobart machines that we go to, that's what everyone buys, so 90% of all dishwashers I work on are all Hobarts. They're good when they're working and when they're looked after. They work really well, these machines, but if you don't look after them, they can get very expensive real quick. Look at the little watch with the light here. Slow leaks, so I don't know what's going on there. The dripping is gone. Now it's not dripping when it's washing. It's not dripping now. Yeah, a little slow drip. Yep, that's dripping. Yeah, okay. Let's say you take a gasket. The sump gasket, I've got to put some silicone on it. There's an O-ring on there, but it's never good enough. Once you initially break that seal when you change it, no matter what you do, you're just going to want to leak. Just a Hobart thing. It's a Hobart thing. So basically, this little gasket, the one I'm talking about, sits inside here, underneath the sump, the tray pan at the bottom of the dishwasher. I don't know what sort of curse Hobart speak over these things, but once they're touched, they leak, and you just can't make them stop leaking. So, my advice, what I do in the field, I put a bit of silicone around here, a bit of good quality RTV silicone around here, and then whack it on, and yeah, and that stops the leak. It's just something. This is just a Hobart thing. Because the new one has got a new seal. I changed the seal as well with a new part, a new assembly, so which is standard practice anyway. It just wants to drip. So now I have to take this thing apart and put a bit of RTV in there, which you shouldn't bloody need to do. It's bloody annoying. See, that's going to be one clean bucket now. This was a greasy bucket, oily bucket. Now it's clean. No rinse aid, so the soap's remaining. I just put about a quarter of a cup of detergent I had in the bottle in here just to freshen this up. But you know, we'll drain this, give it a drain, hold that down, drain, drain, drain. So it all works quite well, apart from a bloody leak. Anyway, that'll be enough for now. Thanks for watching.